Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger contributed to the IDF over 14 years, more than $700 million. Have you, as actors, pay a fraction of that money to American veterans? Sylvester Stallone is a son of an immigrant family. Schwarzenegger is an immigrant himself. America gave them their wealth, their fame. Is your loyalty with America or with Israel?
I am a Riva and I was taught how to pray Salah.
That means every single time I pray,
the person who told me gets the reward.
5 times a day, from Fajr to Isha.
If you want to support someone like me in learning Salah,
then sponsor 10 people for just £100.
remember the Prophet, peace be upon him, said,
Charity does not decrease wealth. Click the button and donate now.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. If you're watching this video and it's Salah time, please pause it and go pray and come back when you're done. Please check out the description section of this video to support the channel. I came across a recent Bassem Yousef podcast appearance where he called out the American entertainment industry as being complicit in Israel's extremism in the Middle East through fundraisers and financial support from producers, directors and Hollywood actors. In particular, Bassem went off on Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone for directly raising hundreds of millions of dollars for the Israeli military. Let's take a look.
Today is Palestine, tomorrow is Lebanon, after tomorrow is Syria. It's about how our government is completely hijacked by a foreign country, and we need to speak against. Israel is a parasite, it's in this body, and it's controlling the body. And if you don't get rid of that fungus and that bug, there's no way forward. And that's why I find it very funny when Israel said, like, we are standing by ourselves in the Middle East, we are fighting on seven fronts. Bitch, you're using like unlimited amount of money and weapons. Right. So far, I think America spent over like $30 billion. Not a single penny came out of Israel coffers. Right. It all came from our money.
Right.
So if you want to fight yourself, so go fight yourself.
Right.
Don't use our money, because that's not you fighting by yourself.
But don't you agree that, you know, the U.S., as in our government or as in some people, wealth-holding, influential people, donor class, have a lot of responsibility in funding Israel and all the imperialistic endeavors that we have in the Middle East?
Who are the donor class? Who are the biggest donor of Donald Trump? The Adelsons. Who's the bigger donor of Biden? Haim Saban. He's the guy, he's a Hollywood mogul. He is the guy who's behind Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles, Power Rangers. He is behind the Friends of the IDF gala dinners. Friends of the IDF every year raises somewhere between $50 and $100 million every year. Now here's the thing. It's a non-profit organization, which means that the money donated to it, it's a tax write-off. And this money is going to the veterans there. Now, who are the biggest invitees in these dinners? Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone. These are like the regulars, and plus many, many, many more. You can find it in the internet. Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger did all of these patriotic movies glorifying American soldiers. You know how much money did the Friends of IDF has contributed to the IDF over 14 years? More than $700 million. Did they even like pay a fraction of that money to American veterans?
Right.
So you just play the role in the movies, but you don't follow it up in real life. Have you, as actors, paid a fraction of that money to the strikes of SAG-AFTRA for the writers and the actors? No. So which tells you, is your loyalty with America or with Israel?
Right.
And the fact that Sylvester Stallone is a son of an immigrant family, Schwarzenegger is an immigrant himself, and Haim Saban is an immigrant himself. They are all immigrants. And America gave them their careers. America gave them their wealth, their fame. But their loyalty is with Israel. That makes you ask many questions.
Hollywood, the mainstream media and the entertainment industry as a whole are Zionist run, similar to the financial and political sectors in the West. So I'm not surprised that legacy actors like Arnie and Sly have to bow the knee to those in charge in order to be where they are today. Their support for Israel and raising funds for the IDF is nothing new. Bassem made a good point when he said the majority of these hypocritical entertainers got their break and made their money in America, yet they don't dedicate themselves to facilitating funds for the American military or their veterans, like they consistently have done for Israel for years on end to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. Bassem accurately described Israel as a parasite state draining America's resources, asserting that the only way for the US and other Western nations to truly thrive is by freeing themselves from this burden. Imagine how America and its citizens could prosper if the funds currently redirected by Zionist lobbyists who influence the government to support endless wars in the Middle East were instead kept and reinvested into the US. Bassem was also spot on when he said that Israel may portray the genocides they commit as the heroic solitary struggle of a resilient nation, but the reality is without the endless supply of money and weapons from their allies, not only would they be unable to conduct the extremism they carry out, they would be overwhelmingly defeated. Let's watch the next clip.
They tell you, oh, it's a new, after Second World War, it's a new world.
Yeah.
It's like human rights, never again, it will not happen. But then, you see what's happening, that's not normal.
Yeah.
All of this is a charade, is a distraction, and there's something wrong happening. I want to stop saying Israel. It's the United States. So maybe we need to ask the United States, what do you guys want? Are you continue just like to carpet bomb everything until everybody dies? Because it will never be enough for Israel. Tomorrow they're going to go and they do in the West Bank exactly what they're doing in Gaza. They're going to push them into Jordan. They're going to go escalation, and then they're going to be people who want to maybe start to throw rockets from Egypt or Jordan, from all of these, like the same thing that happened in Lebanon. Remember, they pushed the Palestinians into Lebanon.
Right.
Then the Palestinians retaliated, and then Israel invaded Lebanon. What would prevent them doing the same thing for Jordan or for Syria or for Egypt? And then it's all about self-defense. Oh, they're having rockets in their kitchen. They're having rockets in the school, and then they're going to continue. And everybody knows it's wrong. But you have the Western media absolutely covering it up, defending it, and letting it happen. This kind of evil has to stop. People talk a lot about anti-Semitism in America, but nobody talks about the crimes against the Muslims and the Arabs in America.
Of course.
They don't.
Yeah.
What about that? There was like a kid that had a bullet in his spine, and he's paralyzed for life, and I visited him in the hospital because he's wearing a Palestinian Kufi.
Yeah.
That didn't happen to Jewish people in America.
Yeah.
All right? There was a kid, 6 years old, who was stabbed by a 71-year-old man in Chicago.
Yeah.
There was a kid, a Muslim Indian kid, that was almost drowned by a Jewish woman in Texas.
Yeah.
That didn't happen to Jewish kids. All of these disgusting videos about the IDF soldiers wearing lingeries and playing toys and
once they've invaded people's homes.
The IDF, the Israeli army, is a very well-organized army. And no army in the world will not have his soldiers post these things unless they are approved and even encouraged by the authority.
For sure.
They're doing that on purpose. They want you to hate them. And this is what Israel will use. It's like, see, anti-Semitism.
Of course.
Everybody hates us.
Of course.
We're allowed to do whatever. Because it gives them their next excuse to bomb the next hospital, the next thing.
Bassem was right when he said that Zionist entities have been using the same strategy since the aftermath of the Second World War, which was when Palestine was occupied and carved up to form what is now known as Israel. A simple Google search will uncover rabbit holes revealing that these plots date back to the late 1800s and early 1900s, showing just how long Zionists have been wielding power behind the scenes in the West. As Bassem said, where does this end? Right now, Israel's mission is to take over Palestine. Next, it could be Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, or Egypt, especially since Israel has already stolen land from each of these countries using the exact same playbook they used to occupy Gaza and the West Bank. For decades, Israel has relied on this recycled disinformation and false propaganda to justify bombing homes, hospitals, schools, refugee camps, and places of worship, actions that Bassem Yousef rightly condemned as evil. I also agree with the point he made about how Islamophobia is a much bigger problem in the West than anti-Semitism. Credit to Bassem for shedding light on the violence and discrimination Western Muslims endure, fueled by widespread anti-Islam and anti-Muslim sentiments that are driven by Israeli propaganda, which the mainstream media often sweep under the carpet. As he said, the majority of the victims of these crimes have been Muslim kids, and the perpetrators were either Jewish extremists or Zionist sympathizers. I'm not saying every member of the Jewish community participates in such extreme behavior, but when certain individuals do, there always seems to be a PR spin to justify it, or the story is completely buried from public attention. Bassem made an interesting point when he said the IDF's appalling conduct during this so-called conflict appears to be a deliberate government tactic to not only dehumanize Palestinians, but also to deflect criticism of their inhumane actions by falsely framing it as anti-Semitism. In our era, due to social media, the world has woken up to the deception and corruption of the Israeli government and their military. But what has changed? Israel is still wiping out civilians and illegally occupying land. Awareness is not enough. It's our collective action and our refusal to stay silent that can turn global outrage into justice for the oppressed and accountability for the oppressors. I just hope that those with the power to act will step in and prove that justice is more than just an empty slogan, but instead a duty to our fellow human beings. Thank you for watching. Make sure to join my free Telegram group via the link in the description, and remember to like, subscribe and become a channel member for access to exclusive content. Until next time, inshallah, Jazakallah khair.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allah.